Three Department of Correction employees have been suspended following another death at Rikers Island over the weekend. Early on Saturday morning, officers were conducting a tour and found a 29-year-old man unresponsive in his cell. The investigation remains ongoing, and this marks the ninth death in Department of Correction custody since the beginning of this year. All of this comes as the federal judge in charge of reviewing the troubled jail complex announced that she intends to have a federal receiver take control of the complex. Judge Laura Swain is still in the process of considering who will take over as a federal receiver. The city is legally mandated to close Rikers Island by 2027, but an independent Rikers Commission has warned that the city is not on track and will not meet that deadline. Joining me now to talk more about all of these issues is Darren Mack. He is the co-director of Freedom Agenda, part of the Urban Justice Center. I want to, start, Darren, thanks for coming in, with what we know so far about what happened. We got a very bare bones explanation from the Department of Correction.
Yeah, so, first, my condolences to the Billa family for losing their loved one tragically on Rikers Island. For Freedom Agenda, many of our members have lost loved ones on Rikers as well. As far as we know, Mr. Billa was found in his cell unresponsive. He was in a medical unit known as the PACE unit. And what's even devastating that, being in the highest level of care on Rikers Island, the PACE unit, the program to accelerate clinical effectiveness. This is supposed to be the highest level of care, and this underscores that no one is safe on Rikers Island. 10 deaths this year already, 43 deaths during Mayor Adams since he took office, and it's a tragedy that another death, another family has to grieve. And it's a tragedy that the Department of Corrections, they issue this recycled statement to the family. It sends a clear message that they're more concerned about the inconvenience of managing, a PR statement rather than reckoning with, the tragedy that happened.
The three suspensions, what does that say to you, that three corrections personnel were suspended?
Yeah, accountability is important. Equally important is taking action to, one, reduce the population on Rikers Island, which the Department of Correction has the power to do, utilizing the 6A early release program, which has been effective. And also, the mayor basically implementing the plan to close Rikers. Just in March, the Lippman Commission proposed several suggestions to get us back on track. And unfortunately, this administration hasn't lifted a finger to implement that plan.
So, say a little more about the early release program you're describing.
Yeah, so the Department of Corrections Commissioner has the power to release people who are serving a city sentence of 1 year or less. And this program is under supervision, and this program has proven to be effective. And there's literally hundreds of people who are actually eligible right now to get in this program. And unfortunately, DOC Commissioner hasn't been utilizing it to reduce the population.
When you say under supervision, do you mean like an ankle bracelet or visits from a probation officer, that kind of thing?
It's not an ankle bracelet. It's basically like you have to report back in to whoever the agency that's managing the ATI services, Alternative Incarceration Services. So yeah, this is something that could be utilized and that's been proven to be effective.
The idea that a 29-year-old who's waiting for his day in court should simply turn up dead on a Saturday or early in the morning, these are the kind of problems, the 43 deaths that you alluded to, are exactly why the federal judge has decided that they need basically a takeover of the complex, right?
Yeah, so this has been a problem for a long time. I was detained on Rikers Island as a teenager when it was 20,000 people detained there. It was out of sight and out of mind, but it wasn't until survivors of Rikers like myself, family members who lost their loved ones or had loved ones on Rikers Island, basically made noise about what was happening, decades later. And then, we basically, came to the conclusion that New Yorkers came to the conclusion that Rikers Island couldn't be fixed, that Rikers Island couldn't be reformed, that the only solution was decarceration, ultimately closure.
Yeah, I mean, that is, in fact, the law. The law is that the complex will be closed that the places that are being built right now, I drive past the Brooklyn House of Detention all the time, and it's under construction. They're doing something similar in Queens. They're going to do something similar in the Bronx. And the big fight over the one in Manhattan has been going on for a while now. But the money is allocated. The contracts have been put out. These alternative institutions are going to get built. From your point of view, from the point of view of advocates, the idea is not simply to close Rikers and everybody just goes home. The idea is to have better institutions that are cleaner, that are safer, that are better lit, that are connected to the courts, because the whole point is that they're waiting for their day in court. How is that process going as far as you're concerned?
Unfortunately, due to this administration's dragging its feet to issue out the RFPs for the demolition and construction, there has been delays. It's moving along, but it's slow. But thankfully to City Council, the Speaker Adams and City Council, we finally have $50 million invested in mental health and justice impacted supportive housing and all those things to reduce the jail population, to close the pipelines that's feeding incarceration. So the work continues, and we hope, with this death that just happened, that the mayor do something different to implement this plan to close Rikers and reduce the population.
On January 1st, whether the mayor is still Eric Adams or there's a new mayor, what does the next administration need to do?
So the next administration basically, right now, AMKC is the largest facility out of the 10 jails on Rikers Island, and it's been empty for months. And under the Renewable Rikers Act, when that was passed in 2021, when the administration, if a land or any facility is not being utilized by the Department of Corrections, then under the Renewable Rikers Act, they could transfer that land or facility to the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, and this is something that this mayor could do right now, and whoever's the mayor next year, they could move that forward. They could continue to invest in the things that we know that's evidence-based to close the pipelines that feed in incarceration and expedite the closure of Rikers Island, in its entirety.
You talk about, we know that there are many streams that feed into the carceral system, if you want to call it that, the technical name. But what's one thing that you'd like to see the next mayor do that you think would substantially cut the flow of people who keep ending up in jail?
Yeah, there's this thing called FACT teams. It's like teams of mental health experts that go out into the communities, they could go out into the subways and connect people who have mental health issues and who are unhoused as well to the services that they need. We need to beef this system up. We need to be invested in this because, half of the population on Rikers Island right now has a mental health diagnosis, and 20% of that population has a serious mental health illness. So if we build the community-based mental health services like these FACT teams up, this will drive down the population, drive down the pipelines that's causing incarceration in the first place.
Okay. We're still talking with a lot of the candidates. I'm sure that this will come up with them. Thanks so much for coming by tonight. Great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.